there close. Turn this off. Okay, we are, as they would say, live. It is April 10th, 2020, the year of our Lord 2026, which is our shout out to Steve Bannon for our guests that have never heard me say that. But that's how Steve Bannon opens his show. We're big Steve Bannon fans here. So he's actually a very, very smart guy. Worked for Goldman Sachs, all that kind of stuff. And you got to have him work with people that understand the inside workings of how that all occurs. And a lot of people give him credit for getting Donald Trump elected in 2020 or 2016 when he came in and got involved with the campaign. But he definitely has a mind of his own. So watch him and learn. And there's a whole bunch of, I'm sorry. Oldest speaking. Production staff is not supposed to speak, but that's okay. It was, and I will let everybody know on the 9th. Was it the 9th or the 8th? It was the 9th. You're not. Oh, she's not. Was our 19th year anniversary for dating. Meeting for the first time. We were set up on a blind date, and we met at Fido in Atlanta, and Buckhead. So April 8th. So I mean, we're off by one. I was off by one day. But Joe McLaughlin, who's our chair of our credentialing and committee, his is the 9th. So I got confused there. But theirs is much longer.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm trying to make up an excuse. Theirs was much longer marriage or togetherness, but they actually met on the 9th and then got married a year later on the 9th. It took me a little bit longer to get Olga to pay the right price. So then the price was the price was I have to get a green card or go back to Poland. So I guess we hung around. And then as Joe McLaughlin said, as he dropped some stuff off at our house yesterday for the meeting on Monday, his wife, I think it was his wife actually asked her, I think she was teasing me and said, have we ever gotten the glasses fixed, her glasses fixed from us dating? So apparently I said, no, those have been permanently broken about what she has to look at every morning. So that joke didn't work out too well, but I tried. I tried. We need to get out. We got to go. Is there a motion to adjourn?
They start a meeting like a joke.
Yeah, that's. I've literally been in a state party meeting that was as soon as we opened, somebody made a motion to adjourn because we had called the meeting and they didn't want to talk about what we called, so our side called. But we do have a couple special guests here. We do have some new folks that we're going to introduce. Well, maybe we'll go ahead and introduce first, but
Remember
Mike Rule. Oh yes, I didn't mention it before. Grab the microphone, pull this microphone up for you guys when you guys do speak here. And again, the reason for the mic is I speak loudly to make sure everybody can hear, but back home or out there in the ether or the online universe, they can't hear as well, and they're straining to listen. So we got two guests. I'm going to start with Herb because he is the most recent guest to our office and our family here. He walked in earlier this week. He was looking for the No Kings office. And we told him he found the right place because we do not have a king in America. And he did tell us about his lovely bride and his life story. But tell us how you found us, what precinct you are. I think you're in the Wellington precinct, and just introduce yourself and what your cause might be.
Okay, I am Herb Estep. Been in South Carolina since 1965. Came down to that school over there, right around the corner, and
Bob Jones.
Yeah, 2 years in the academy, so 6 years total. Didn't help me much, but I did meet my future wife at that time, working with some missionaries in Columbia, South Carolina. So that was, the Lord had everything planned. And excuse me, my voice goes. I worked for Department of Corrections, and I will tell you this, since I told her, I was strangled by a inmate one day. I asked him to make up his bed, and he damaged my throat. So every once in a while, my voice just kind of fades out. But it was a good job. I had 30 years with the state. So I've been in, like I said, in South Carolina, just about ever since. Short period in Virginia, and a short period in Columbia, and then wound up back here. My wife came to me one day and she said, I've got to get away from my family. Let's go back to Greenville. when she says she wants to get away from the family, but I loved I loved all of her brothers and sisters. But anyway, I'm here. I'm a born again believer, and I love the Lord, and I'm very happy to be in this country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And he actually walks 7 miles a day.
5 to 7.
5 to 7. So he's going to be our new literature dropper. So we're going to give him maps and addresses, and he's going to take literature and drop it all over the place. But we'll talk about some of that later today. Our second guest, I should have introduced him last week because he was here, Spencer from Georgia. And he's been watching us. He interestingly enough, not to spoil it, he was like looking for news, and he's like, I want to follow political news. And he's like, he found us somehow, and he's like, these people talk about all politics at all different levels. So he like gets his news from us, and I'm like, I hope you get it from somewhere else too. But Spencer, introduce yourself. What brought you here to Greenville, and what your cause is, or just general what you're interested in.
Yeah, I'm Spencer Dansby. My wife and I moved here from Georgia. She's originally from Lexington, so we're only partial invaders. And what brought us to Greenville was we lived in Atlanta, and I was telling we were kind of became the minority in speaking English. It was our area got pretty heavily Spanish, and so it just felt like we were the odd people out. So we left, came here. I work remote, so I'm a software developer. I'm going to help out with the site here a little bit. Like Jeff said, I wanted to be more involved locally, and it just seemed like a lot to keep up with, county council, school board, city council. And so somehow, some way I stumbled upon Coffee and Politics, and it was like, y'all were going over all of it at the same time. So I started listening in, and I'm a new dad, so girl.
Oh, really? My condolences.
Yeah, she's 6 weeks old.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. And you felt even more encouraged to get involved. So.
Good job.
And he, this is one of the good things about working for maybe a more, when I say woke company or left.
Oh yeah, in Atlanta.
Yeah, but he gets 6 weeks of paternity leave.
Yes.
So,
Well, no, I'm not working for a woke company now. I work for MediShare, the Christian.
oh, that's right. Yes.
So,
Sorry.
I did in Atlanta. And
That was part of. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And MediShare, tell us. I mean, because what does MediShare do? Because I mean, I say there are good things about MediShare. I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's not health insurance. It's health sharing. So during Obamacare, Christians needed a way to opt out from a lot of the ACA requiring, or a lot of the plans required abortion and things like that. And so Christian health sharing is you come together with other Christians and we pay for each other's medical bills. So it's not insurance. Every time I go to the doctor, for the birth, a bunch of people came together and paid my hospital bills alongside me. You don't actually physically get like a check. You have like bank account behind the scenes and all that stuff like that. And it's made, Medicare specifically is made to look and feel kind of like insurance. I shouldn't be saying this. It's legal stuff. But you get a card, you give it to your doctor, all that stuff, and it all happens behind the scenes. So
yes. And we know some other people that use it and have used it in the past and had some issues, bigger health issues, and it's taken care of it. So it is a way to kind of get around some of the Obamacare stuff, which is a very interesting process, because Olga and I, not having a business or being part of that, we actually have to be part of that whole Affordable Care Act stuff, and it is very different and very confusing and very I mean, with my health thing from 2 years ago, starting with the colon cancer, we went, obviously, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield, but we went to the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, and we started all things. We provided them that stuff, but apparently now versus the old days, you can't go to out of state. So we had to come back and find someone in state as part of that plan. And that's obviously has changed over the years. So it kind of goes back to the, if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. So we liked our doctor down there, and we could not keep it. that doctor, but they still look after us sometimes. So, but thank you for what you're doing, and Spencer is going to help us on the website. One of the tasks, his eyes kind of got big when he says, and I don't know how much you've done on WordPress, but remember back when we first started our website back in 2021, because obviously the old folks just deleted everything out. We put it onto a server in Sweden because they were shutting people down. You know, we on our email system, we used MailChimp in the day. We sent out an email from the Greenville County Republican Party, nothing controversial or whatever. MailChimp, not in my opinion, MailChimp, shut us down. I mean, a lot of people have really forgotten, what it was like in those days where, we all know about the stories of X and Twitter or all that kind of stuff, and it was quite frankly, whether you like what President Trump was saying or not, you got to think in America, you couldn't just shut the man down and turn off his voice, because that was his voice out to people, So things have changed, but I think it's now safe. We're going to move it back to a less expensive, so everybody sees that $35. It was brought up. I think everybody was like, "Why are we paying $35 a month to some group in Sweden or London or something like that?" So he's going to help us save $35 a month. Maybe we'll send him a baby gift. So all right, we do have a special guest today. He is running for U.S. Senate. He is an independent candidate for U.S. Senate, not a Republican, not a Democrat. He has told me, if it's okay, he's always been a Republican voter. So I would like to first let Don introduce himself. Welcome to introduce your guest and friend as well. But tell us a little bit about you, what you're doing, what you're thinking, what your message is, for folks to help get involved civically and hopefully save America, do the right stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. This next to me is Steve Stone. He's a friend that's just been helping me with some tech stuff and doing a good job of trying to leverage inexpensive ways to communicate. And give you a little bit of history. I started dating my wife when she was 14. It was legal. I was 16. And we've now been married for 46 years. Have 2 daughters.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We have 2 daughters. They are one's a physical therapist that worked on Steve. That's how we met. And the other is a Greenville County Schools kindergarten teacher. And so I've been involved in both of those professions tangentially, and have a great appreciation for what they do for in the interest of helping others. There was a time in their lives where we were riding down the road, and I asked the girls, "Hey, girls, tell me what we've taught you." And this is when they were teenagers. And they said, I said, "I want you to tell us what Mom and I have taught you." And they said, "You taught us to give something back." And that was as fulfilling as it could be to hear that come from your girls. And they continue to be that kind of mindedness as they grow up. And now one's in their 40s and one's in their 30s. But that's a little bit of the personal background. I moved to Greenville, or to Greer. I've been in Greer since I came to South Carolina in 1980. We moved from Lincoln, Nebraska. I came with a company that was relocating to Greenville that ended up becoming Rockwell Automation at the point where I had left the organization. I was a marketing guy for 24 years in industrial America, very attuned and interested in the success of manufacturers in America, because I was one, and I watched a lot of things leave, and it was very concerning. But we held on, and we did good growing. I ended up being spun out to a logistics and e-commerce oriented joint venture that served 5 competing global manufacturers who shipped heavy round things, bearings, couplings, electric motors, gearboxes, all over the world through a foreign trade zone, and all over the United States with trucks departing daily, so that the shared trucks could be delivered to customers virtually the next day, anywhere in the country, out of central Tennessee, where we had the biggest warehouse. We had warehouses in Canada and the U.S., so I was president and CEO of a Canadian-based company. I was the president and CEO of a Greenville, South Carolina-based company. I did that for 18 years, and I retired. And I have published my life story in a book called Links to Me. That's the company's name that I was with. So I pretty much laid out all my ugliness, which took place during the early part of my life. And I was involved in things that were not favorable towards my health or society. And I came into my faith in my early 30s. And I have since been named a lay minister emeritus in the Methodist Church. I attend a traditional Methodist church in Greer, downtown Greer, Memorial Methodist. And that's where my kids grew up. That's where I have taught Sunday school. That's where I have preached. I also lead a summer church down on Lake Hartwell. It's only open during the summer, May or Memorial Day to Labor Day. And at that, I lead worship. I teach. I also serve on some boards and have been involved for over 30 years in 501c3s locally. The biggest involvement was with the Greer Soup Kitchen and its Daily Bread Ministries in Greer. We used to feed 100 to 200 people a day with the ministry that was started in 1992 by a dear friend of mine who's now ascended to heaven. And then I was board of directors for that for a long time. I was a couple of terms and served as the leader to create the family homeless shelter in Greer, which is still operating, known as Greer Step. I came off of that board in the late teens, and I went on to another board called South Carolina Camps and Retreat Ministries that's aimed at teaching children to be in the outdoors and worship God without a cell phone or without, try new things, take some risks, learn how to socialize, like actually converse with other humans. And it's been a very successful ministry for a long time, not because of my efforts, but I'm proud to have been associated with it. We run camps at Asbury Hills on the way up to Caesar's Head, at Lake Hartwell, and down at Seabrook Island. So those are the nonprofit things I've been involved with. I'm term limiting out of the Camps and Retreat Ministries, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was having lunches with my pastor and saying, it's the first time in 30 years I'm not going to be very active in a 501c3 Christian charity. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know one thing, and that is I don't want to raise money anymore. I'm sick of fundraising. It seems like when you're involved in 501c3s, that's all you want. What you do is you raise money, and I'm tired of that. I know I don't want to do that, but I'd like to be involved in some ministries, and I've got some that I'm interested in, and we do support financially. But I didn't know what I was going to do for the first time, and he told me that I needed to just pray and listen and wait. Mm-hmm. So for a period of weeks, I prayed and listened and waited. And I don't claim to have any knowledge of how God works. I don't claim to have been commissioned by God. All I know is I woke up one morning as a guy who never involved himself in politics in his life. I was a workaholic until nearly 50 years old, and then I solved that problem. And I just never dreamed of being involved in politics. I've always been a GOP voter. I voted for Trump 3 times, voted for Lindsey Graham 3 times. But when I woke up that morning, I had a strong feeling that I needed to do something, because the issues that I found to be most important were not being discussed at all. And so I thought, well, what can I do? And the issues that I was interested in, I'll tell you about. But I had the opportunity to look at my position as a Republican and say, is that what I want to be? And I'm thankful to Jeff and Anthony for allowing me to at least come in and share this perspective as a disaffected Republican. And I look at your party platform, the things that you put on your website, and I look for spiritual alignment. I've always been interested in the concept of spiritual alignment. Are you with people that you share the heart with? And there are so many things that I share with this group that make me feel spiritually aligned. And that's things that you list. You list the Constitution as being very important. I think the Constitution is extremely important. You list liberty and justice for all as being very important. Agree there. You want honest politicians, honest public servants, and some form of accountability. And I'm all in on that. You'd like to streamline government processes. They're a mess. I think everybody knows they're a mess. Doesn't matter who's in power, they're a mess. You want to reduce taxes. Absolutely. I'm all in on let's reduce taxes. And we did with the big, beautiful bill. We went a little further than just freezing the law from 2017. And you want to hold elected officials accountable. And to do that, you have to have some teeth that say if-then statements. If you do this, then this happens. And so that I'm with you on that. I'm with you on medical freedom completely. I like that. And I'm going to talk more about that. And I'm with you completely on loving God and serving God, because that's the most important thing in my life. So those are the things that I'm spiritually aligned with this group. But there are places that I had problems with things not being discussed. The one that's on the top of my mind and heart is that I feel and believe that we need term limits for Congress and for federal judges. And I know that the U.S. Term Limits Organization has a convention of states. South Carolina is all in on that. We've written language in our state legislature's written language that says we're with you. There's 20 other states that are this close to having the same kind of language. It needs to be negotiated. That'd make 33 states. You need 34 to pull an Article 5 convention of states, and that's imminent. I mean, it's possible in the next term for that to happen. And that's probably the only way it can happen. But also, I think we need to talk about federal judges having a term limit. I think 20 years is enough. Yeah. I mean, if you were a federal judge and you were appointed in 1910, and women were given the right to vote in 1920, and you're still on the bench in 1940, you probably have a twisted perspective. So these are things that I don't understand why we want to appoint them to be lifetime. And there's precedent for this, and that's in the 22nd Amendment, which was adopted in 1951. We said presidents can only have 2 terms. So we've done it. I mean, there's a way to do it. We just got to find that way. And the Republican Party's not talking about this. Donald Trump brought it up in 2016, part of what made me enthused about Donald Trump. And yet, since 2016, it's just disappeared. So that's probably my biggest thing. The other thing is I think we need to have logical controls on corruption. There's bad corruption going on. And Jeff and I were just talking before this meeting started about things that happened right here in Greenville that were they're just the problem. It's just wrong stuff. And we've got a precedent for that. It's the 27th Amendment. We said Congress can't give themselves a pay increase that goes into effect while they're in office. Their pay increase can't go in until the next term. Well, that's a form of corruption control, but we can leverage that precedent. We can go a lot further to eliminate things like PACs. The Citizens United thing has turned into a Sheldon Adelman versus Elon Musk thing. It's really, and the money's outrageous. Lindsey Graham's money is outrageous. He has almost $40 million coming in, 87% of which comes from outside of South Carolina.
Outside the country too.
It's just the whole thing with that is wrong. The fact that they get a pension and they have a 401k. Pensions are aimed at people being around for a long time. You get seniority, you get more pension the longer you stay. I don't know about how many of you have it. I don't have a pension. And you probably have, you work for the state. And that's the point. 90% of public employees have pensions, 8% of private employees have pensions. So you got to ask the question: why are the people that are electing officials giving benefits to the officials that they don't have? I don't understand that. And then the corruption as far as enrichment in office. When you look at the last study of how did the top 100, not Republicans, top 100 congressmen, how did they do on return on investment in a period of 4 or 5 years? The last study that was done, Congress made 48% per year. The top 100 made 48% per year. At the same time, we made 6% per year. Well, there's a control option there that you can do, and I've got that laid out for one of my things. So I know I'm on a little bit of a roll here, but I'm gonna
Keep going. There's nothing I would disagree with you so far. So there's nothing. So, I
but
mean,
it's not on the platform.
it's
not on the
It
platform.
probably should be. Yes.
It's not here. It's not nationally. It's not on the platform. Next thing is wellness. When I was the CEO of a corporation that employed 1,000+ people in one location, we decided that we were worried about their wellness, not their health care, their wellness. So we ended up hiring a nurse practitioner and an RN. And we put a little office up, and we told our people and their families that they could come and visit with this nurse practitioner and RN, and we kept and held on site non-narcotic generic prescriptions aimed at hypertension, sugar, and cholesterol. And we told them, we want you to come and get checked. And people did. And these are people they were mostly warehouse workers. A lot of them couldn't afford the $30 copay, couldn't afford the generic prescriptions to buy them at the pharmacy. And the truth is, those generic prescriptions cost nothing, like 2 cents, 3 cents a piece. So we decided we're going to take care of our employees. We did that in 2016, and in the next 4 years, our healthcare costs of insurance went down 6%, while the rest of the market went up 22%. Why? Because we were nipping problems in the bud. Instead of having big claims because somebody's got uncontrolled cholesterol, uncontrolled sugar, uncontrolled hypertension, we were nipping it in the bud. We even found early signs of cancer, early tumors, where we could get people in and get their care before it went into a death spiral. So I know that works. And I know with COVID having made one positive thing of COVID, I think it's the only one I can think of, is telehealth.
Yeah.
Now we have telehealth. And it's great. That means that people can visit these folks on the phone. You don't have to go into an office for it. So I'm arguing that the United States should invest in wellness. We should give our citizens non-narcotic generic drugs with no copay, and we should give them a hotline or a visit place that they can go get wellness checks and put some teeth in it, because I'm all about medical choice. I do what I want to do. If I choose not to take care of myself, then I don't think it's fair that the people have to pay for me to go to the hospital for a horrific illness.
That's right.
If you take care of yourself, we're going to take care of you. If you don't take care of you, if you sit around and eat chips for 50 years and don't walk anywhere and you need to do knees and you go to the hospital, I don't want to pay for you. I don't want you in the Medishare pool. I don't want you in the Medishare pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my wellness thing and I think we need to pivot off healthcare, because right now anybody can go to the hospital, they're going to get taken care of. Anybody. Whether they take care of themselves, whether they're legal citizens, no matter who goes to the hospitals have a law that says you got to take care of them. And guess who pays?
Everybody.
We all pay. So that's another thing. There's a scripture that is meaningful to me, and that is 2 Thessalonians 3:10. And I'm fascinated with Paul. I've walked the footsteps of Paul. And he wrote, the one who is unwilling to work shall not eat.
Amen.
Amen. I've got a cousin who does not work. He's 31 years old. He gets partial disability from having served in Iraq in a horrible situation. He gets so much assistance from the government that he told us that if he went to work, he would actually be taking a pay cut.
That's messed
Well,
up.
there's something wrong with that.
Yes, there is.
And so that's systemic. That's
Yes.
a thing that we need to start talking about, enabling people who are able-bodied to not work and implement the 2 Thessalonians 3:10 precedent. So that's another thing. Another thing, immigration. Everybody, this immigration thing has been a disaster. But if you read the Bible and you look at how we're supposed to approach this, it is hard for me to condemn people who came to America when America was letting them in. It's hard to condemn. Who would, I mean, if they gave up their home, their country, their life, their job, everything, and said, I've got to get there. It's the dream. It's the dream. I've got to go. And they go, shame on us that we didn't stop them.
Yeah.
Thank God for
We
Donald
should have
Trump.
been
Thank
looking
God
at them as they came in. You
Well,
can't just open the gates and say, come on. That's
Donald
not their
Trump
work.
closed the border in less
And he
than
needed
a
to.
year.
He needs
He absolutely needed to.
That's
And
they
so, but here's the thing: if the border was open, and we've proven now that in less than a year we can completely close the border, is it the fault of the people who wanted to come here for a better life that they were able to get in? The answer is no. They were allowed in by our people, and now they're filling jobs. They're filling jobs. So if you're going to try to ship them all off, guess what? You got to fill the jobs. And guess what? Another thing. America is only growing at 0.2% per year by population. 0.2%. Our birth rates are barely higher than our
need
death
to do
rates.
away with abortion. Thank you. And there wouldn't be a problem any longer.
Well, that's something that I agree with mostly, but I don't know that there's enough aborted babies happening to fill
Oh,
the jobs
there's
gap.
lots of them happening.
Well, it would take millions.
It is billions.
So
It's
Because
billions.
20% of our population doesn't exist because of abortion.
Thank
There
you.
should be
so is
greater-
it 20%?
That's right.
60 million since Roe v. Wade is the
Well,
general
Gotta
number.
think
Throw out
about
there.
the children and grandchildren of the aborted. So,
That's true. It compounds.
at least 20% of our
That's right.
population doesn't exist.
Mhm.
It's abortion on me. It's
just
unprecedented.
the
You're
wrong-
murdering humans. It has to stop. That's a God.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay, that's where-
I don't disagree with that at all. But
That
I'm
would solve
saying
the population
I managed a company that was always short 50 people. Was always short 50 people. We were always hiring. We were growing.
Yeah, well,
That's why we were hiring.
the
So
kids today are on their phones. They can't let go of this. It's our own societal problems that have caused the problem for Americans not to work.
absolutely. But if we're going to bring in all the businesses that we say are about to come in and remanufacture here,
Mhm.
then we got to staff them. We got to staff them. Where are those staff going to come from? That's the question I'm asking.
We have plenty. There's people, they have to be trained, and immigrants are not the answer. We don't want a bunch of immigrants. It changes the whole.
I don't think we have the people. That's all. The facts would say we don't have the people.
And I'm not sure what the right answer is because yes, I hear some people say that. I say, here we have the solution. In other ways, I hear AI is going to take a lot of jobs away as well, and we're going to have people that don't have jobs. So we have legal immigration.
And that's what I'm for. I'm for legal immigration. I am completely for legal immigration, and matching people to jobs when they come in, so that they're coming in to work.
Right.
But in jobs that are open, like my 50, are always open.
We used to have. That's
But
what we have.
then I will just make a point. Olga said that we got H-1B visas
Mhm.
for people to work at a 7-Eleven.
That's right.
That doesn't make any sense.
$10,000 to get that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what are you? So you said it's not their fault that they got here. So I think they need to all go back, all of them. And if they come back legally, that's fine.
That's fine.
But
And
the
then
thing is, what are you saying that they should do?
I disagree with you. That's why I'm running as an independent.
But you have to hear the debate. I am of the mind. I'm of the mind that they all need to go back and come back. And I get that's my position.
And we know what we're bringing in.
Understand?
We don't have
But
murdering
people are going to have the opinion that yes, we did. It was our fault. Our government was saying, "Hey, the doors are open." Not us. I understand, but it's a difficult decision for people that did give up everything. But I also then fall back on, well, they knew it was illegal. They should have known it was a political battle. They should have known those types of
We're
things.
paying people.
But we're going
It's the
to,
UN doing it. I
it's
mean,
going to be a
crazy.
debate.
Somewhere there.
We can't even get past the debate and then agree, or even agreement with the criminal element that should be sent back.
Yeah.
That,
I am absolutely, in fact,
Yeah.
that's part of what I'm promoting is
Right.
that if you are convicted and you are not a legal resident, then you should be sent back without any right of appeal. Because they're delaying things in the courts for a long time.
and that's what our beef is with the Democrats. We can't get them to agree to the criminal illegal element being sent back.
Well, that's
And I think that's just the whole
That
political
part's
battle. It's completely ridiculous. I would have the discussion with the other stuff, but we got to get past it.
And the way you spoke is that everyone who came here to better their life. I'm really, like what Jeff just said, I'm curious to know what percentage of this border flung open have been people who came for a better life, because there was a lot of percentage of young fighting age men.
Yes.
Well, I
And a
don't
lot of criminals.
I don't know the answer.
And not only that, I think this has been a global agenda to destroy nationalism
Yes.
and create a one world government.
NGOs.
So this is not just about nice people coming to create America like my grandparents.
That's right. There's a bigger agenda at hand.
It's a harder stance.
Right. I'm sharing a perspective that's out in the electorate, that's all.
It is one of many issues. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of many issues that are out there.
But it points up why I had to run as an independent, because there's a lot of.
You can still
a lot of
run as a
disagreement.
Republican on that platform too.
But I'd be rhino in the day I applied.
Perhaps,
There's
yes.
an online question that has nothing to do with what we talk about,
Okay.
but I want to stay on track. And it looks like it's a Polish person asking it. So not that they're saying in Polish. Wondering what you'll have to say about those photos of Kristi Noem's husband. Do you think that's part of the reason why she if we want to get there.
why?
Give you a break.
We need a microphone.
I have not seen the photos. It is kind of bizarre. I think I have always said there was something other than her job performance of why Kristi Noem was let go.
If they're Polish, we would welcome them here, by the way.
And if you're Polish, you're welcome here because Ola's Polish. I don't know. No, I think the name looks Polish, so
Amen.
you're welcome to come attend in person. Yes, sir.
I'd like to say one thing. I have
Yeah, grab,
I have a friend that I have known for
hold on, grab the mic so they can hear you.
he came over across the border
Mhm.
illegally, but it's like he said the door, it was open.
Yeah.
It was not illegal to come at that time.
Technically, it was illegal,
Yeah,
but they were
but
allowing people to break the law.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they allowed it, and they allowed it to come. He said he's here. He owns a business. He has a family, and he's a good Christian man.
Yeah.
And so, how do you handle that?
The stories are heartbreaking in that sense, but we also have to look at. I mean, we have a friend that owns a landscaping business and absolutely refuses to hire illegals. It makes his business extremely difficult, extremely non-competitive, and so I see that as that's why I'm of the belief that hey, they all have to go home, have a way to come back, but we got to look at what has occurred. But it is going to be tragic. It's going to be difficult. It should not be difficult of arresting an illegal immigrant, pedophile, whatever, murderer, or whatever, sending them back. That's what is shocking to me, that the Democrats won't agree to that. So, we can have the discussion of how we humanely, biblically send people home.
We will make America great again. We will make America great again.
Again, I'll qualify for the people that don't know. So our clock was broken, and that is our replacement clock. It's fun for meetings, but it's when you're here 12 hours a day, it's all. But it's fun. Yeah. Yes,
One thing I
ma'am.
wanted to say about that.
Oh.
and-
Oh, grab the mic. So
Oh,
then we'll go back.
I don't know. Can I go? Hey, thank you.
How are you?
You're
You're gonna have to come closer.
Stand up. There you go.
Now
Tell
you
us
are.
who you
Yeah.
are.
Oh, Ray Calabro, O'Neill Precinct President.
This is not a business meeting yet.
No, just I mean, just one comment that came in my head, and you talk about, and he's got it, is that it's what's sad to me is that whatever country he came from lost that.
Yes, that's
And and it's sad as it may be, go back to that country and use that entrepreneurial spirit to make your country better.
yeah. I agree with you too. I've thought a lot about that. I mean, if Olga was sent back, I mean,
You will be happy.
she has developed skills over the time of being here where she could maybe try to do the production of this from Poland. but she would be a contributing member of taking back our culture and business practices and thought processes. Because I'm telling you, other cultures think differently than we do in America. I mean, business wise, all that kind of stuff. They think bribing and stealing and all that kind of stuff is okay. It is part of their culture, and it's okay. I mean, we have to, extend out, our business practices and beliefs, and I think that would help their original, country of birth, and I think it'd be very helpful to them. So there is that flip side of it. How do we help them go through that transition? It's a difficult choice.
It is not. Oh, let's say I transfer inside. We don't get to do that. It's not okay that these immigrants poured in here, whether they say it was legal, which it wasn't technically legal, or not. And it furthermore was not okay for us, the citizens here, to bankroll them with giving them housing, giving them cars, giving them food stamps, giving them education, giving them every darn thing, giving them loans to start businesses. And then they sell that loan $5 to another family member that they bring in, and they keep that going and going and going. This has all been robbery from the American people, and they have to go back.
As a U.S. senator, you have that discussion and that debate, and it is a very deep discussion, touchy debate. Because if you look at all the Somalians in Minnesota and all that kind of stuff, they've come here and they think it's okay to take advantage of the generosity of Americans.
And they're robbing us blind, yeah.
And in many cases they have. And in many cases they've been assisted by Americans in robbing us blind. Rebecca, and then we'll go to George.
Rebecca Goodman, Greenville 03, North Main. I've been on boards with ministries and dealt with this in the fact that these immigrants wanted to be included on the board and be included in different ministries and so forth. And I had to stand my ground because they were not legal. And it was a confrontation for me to let them know that if they were serious about coming to America and serving their God, then go for your citizenship. Don't dilly-dally about it. Don't talk about it. Go for it. And then I'd hear, well, we've already spent $8,000. I said, no. You have spent money where you shouldn't have spent money. You didn't go through the proper channels to become a citizen. So I dealt with that. And my thing is, we want them, but we want legally. We want them legally. We don't want them here unless they have gone through the vetting process and become a citizen.
You're a country of law.
Yes.
We have.
And it is unfair. And my argument is, it is unfair to our young people who are serious about a work ethic to have them have to compete with these folks that are coming in. And I know, I've been there. I mean, I've seen them come in, and in my neighborhood before I moved up here from Georgia, we had a whole gang of roofers come in and re-roof every house in the neighborhood. But what I'm alluding to is, to a degree, they are stealing competition and work from Americans, from our young people. And our young people, they disengage because of it.
Absolutely.
So let's not do that. Let's make it legal. That's my story.
And that's why I would encourage the open-mindedness on all sides, because, you know, in passing to Jordan, did you have a comment or just?
I have a big question.
Okay. Okay. Because I mean, I think for every sad story of the immigrant that did come here, that maybe did not know they were political pawns in the bigger fight that goes on in America, that they did give up everything, and how are they going to get back? And they really don't have any place to go back to. Those are sad stories. I think they're sad stories for Americans that have suffered because of the influx of that. And so, I mean, I think it does go both ways, and we have to figure out a way to solve it. George, and then back to you. Okay.
Yes, I have
Oh, is it a separate question? Or do you
it's a separate
Okay.
question.
Did you want to finish this off? On this. If it's on this, let's finish it off. And then
It goes along with this.
Okay, but let her go first, and then we'll.
I lived in Texas in the 1990s, and I saw the beginning of what's full blown now. The immigrants were sneaking in here, and then they were undercutting real Americans
Yes.
with small businesses and putting them out of business. That's criminal. It should not have happened, and it went completely overblown to the point where we are today because it was not dealt with. And we have to deal with it. They have to go.
That's your opinion. Yes. George.
Yes, I have a major question that's been unsettled for a long time. Capital W, capital H, capital Y. Why are these illegal immigrants in the judicial system treated with favor? If we break the law, we pay the penalty. If they break the law, they are deported without penalty and come back again.
Right.
If they are a murderer or rapist or ever, they should serve their time 15, 20, 50 years or execution and then be deported after they serve the penalty. I'd like an answer on that. Why are they treated special beyond us?
I don't know if Don's got an answer to that. You're welcome to try. My understanding is that the argument has been, let's go ahead, instead of spending the money, the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per year to put them in housing in a lockup, they go ahead and just spend them.
They don't have cell phones, they don't have movies, they have pink underwear, they got pins.
Yeah, I agree. And there was somebody and I think, and I actually encouraged David Pascoe, who's one of the big races this year, primary, obviously, on the Republican side, is for Attorney General, and who will be our next Attorney General for the state of South Carolina. Most of us, I think, are big supporters of David Pascoe. Yeah. Pascoe is about prosecuting people and doing some things. One of the issues that came up was the gentleman that raped and murdered a 2-year-old. Right. And why did Solicitor Stumbo not go after the death penalty? People have different beliefs on the death penalty, but why did he not go after him? I said, why don't we find a picture of what his living conditions are today? I guarantee you, it's a lot nicer than a lot of people out there. The criminal that raped and murdered this 2-year-old, is probably living a life reading books and going to the library and having access to a computer and all that kind of stuff. That is not what prison is.
No.
Yeah, they are there for a penalty. They ought to be making big rocks into little rocks. Something. I get that. So, but I think that's been the argument. I think there's a bigger issue in correcting what goes on. I mean, when criminals have cell phones and all that kind of stuff. I mean, my mother literally, when I was a kid, and this is in the 80s, one of our neighbors owned a bunch of clubs here in town, and apparently in those clubs they were dealing drugs or something like that. The owner apparently, our next door neighbor, got arrested. She was all like worried, and they went to visit him. And he was kicked back in his cell, eating a bucket of fried chicken, watching TV on the wall. Why? This is in the 80s. I don't know. I'm like, I'm like, yes. I said, call my mother. I said, it's like someplace I'd like to be right now instead of going to high school. I mean, but that's what it was. And when he got out, he got a work release thing where he was going and working at a mobile home site that his mother owned, right? I mean, he wasn't working. He just let him out and go hang out there for 12 hours a day and come back. There's a lot of issues and problems that have gotten into our system, and I think a lot of it has to do with money. Somebody's making money off of doing something, and that's why they want. I mean, you go into a business and you see people, speaking foreign languages or from other places, and you're like, yeah, that business doesn't want to lose that, those customers, so they're pro this. Look at your business. Y'all are always 50 people short. I hear that, and I hear that as a problem, but a lot of those are like, they want lower cost wage earners, and that's what they're trying to fill that with. And so it's a big discussion. But if we're going to have the law, enforce the law, and we can't just retroactive write it all off. So kind of you hit a big one, which is funny because we asked people what their issue is, and we had a guy that came in, just moved to Greer from California, and I was like, well, what's your number one issue? And he says, number one issue is immigration. I mean, that's why he's involved and wants to get involved in politics, because he does not believe in the immigration side. He wants to send them all back home. So it's a tough thing. But also people have argued, what are we as Christians supposed to do? What are we supposed
Rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is in the system. What about taking people that are already in the system, not immigrants? I'm talking about the chain gang. I'm talking about things. We used to have a chain gang here in South Carolina. Why can't we fix it? So people have to go out and actually work it off. And why can't we use them in textiles and cannot bring back the textile industry to South Carolina, which was very prevalent at one point, and put these people to work? And no, not at full pay. You work off your debt to society. I'm tired of it. Everybody gets a free ride. And Jeff is right. There is no, you go to jail unless you're in a very terrible jail that you get stuck in because of political reasons. You go to jail, they have it very easy. There's no excuse for that. And why aren't we setting up a system once again where they come and fix the creeks and the roads and everything? Heavens to Betsy, you put them to work. Right. You put them to work and cut down our tax dollars both ways.
I agree with you.
And that is the system that will work. And we don't need immigrants. We have plenty of people here. Absolutely. Just get them out of the jails and put them to work. Period. And save ourselves a lot of tax money.
She's my precinct DC, so I have to listen to what you're telling me.
I'm sorry. There's several solutions, and we need to go back and look at what we used to do versus what's been removed in the realm of mercy. Give me a break. You break the law, this is what's going to happen, and maybe we won't have so many people breaking the doggone law.
You can't break God's law and get away with it. He's not going to. He may forgive you, but you still will be punished.
Well, you still have to live with whatever you've done.
Right,
it's going to happen to you.
We're gonna end this piece of it. Go to the next thing on the list once Herb tells us.
I've worked with the Department of Corrections in South Carolina for 30 years.
Yes.
I worked work release.
Years of voice.
I worked free release, and there's something that has to be overlooked, because you can only use so many of those inmates out on a job because of their history, their violent history and things like that. They cannot, by the laws of South Carolina, go out and work those jobs. They do have work release. They do have a lot of inmates that work jobs in Cross Anchor. They have a furniture manufacturing plant that is huge.
Wow. And
they make all of the furniture for South Carolina. They make all for everything in the state house and everything else comes from Cross Anchor. They do have work at Perry. They have a big operation going on there where they have them making things. It's past just the license plate thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people out, inmates that can hold a job that are not dangerous outside, that do work release, everything from picking up trash to things of that neighborhood. So they do have an outside work program and they have an inside work program, which there's thousands of inmates that work those jobs inside. So it's not like they're all sitting back doing nothing, and they can't have cell phones now, by the way. And they
They're not supposed
they
to.
don't even have TVs. The common room has a TV, but they have to have certain headphones that pulls the channel, so it doesn't even have volume.
They don't need TV. Give them a book. Maybe they'll learn something.
Well, but there again, it keeps them busy with and stays them out of our hair from causing problems for us as the officers.
He's an expert.
Yeah. So
get them breaking rocks.
So some of them, no. Well, we don't need to break rocks anymore.
That was my TV example. Spencer?
Mine's really quick because I liked everything you said up until that point. So I was just saying, the one thing I would consider is, and I hadn't heard it yet, was it's not just a jobs issue, it's a cultural issue. So every town has that one place that looks like a foreign country. So I would just say, consider the cultural side of it as well.
And my argument to that is, I do believe, I mean, my family came over here in the 1600s, right? They were the crazy people that got on a rickety old boat, not knowing where that thing was going to go. And technically one of them actually sank off the coast of Charleston. And that's why they ended up in Charleston and not up in Pennsylvania, which is where they were planning on going. And with, my ancestors was put in indentured servitude and all that kind of stuff. But there is a genetic thing there, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it is. We're a little stubborn, and that's probably what helped build this country, is the stubbornness of wanting an opportunity. And I'm not sure all of those people are coming here wanting an opportunity as opposed to a handout. But I do think there is a bigger thing out there where they are trying to change the culture of this country. America is the last, is the shining, whatever, light on a hill, city on a hill, and they don't like it. The Europeans don't like it. The other globalists don't like it, and they are trying to within change the culture of our country so we are less, or less kind of stubborn, if you will. And and I'm as a business person, I was always like, oh yeah, I want McDonald's everywhere. I'm all about efficiency. And why do we have multiple police departments? We don't have just one police department, right, for the entire country. Until you realize, if you get sideways with one police department, you're in trouble. So from a government perspective, and all, decentralization is actually better, and having all these different levels is actually better, even though it does create an inefficiency. But my thing, to Spencer's point, is they are trying to change the culture, and I look back and in the old days they didn't like Catholics, or they didn't like Irish, or they didn't like Poles. Are we doing that today, or are we doing something completely different? I think it's something completely different. I'm not sure, but just part of the discussion.
Well, I'll close this by saying I'm happy that the border is closed. I think it should have been closed forever.
Yes.
I don't know how it ever got open. I completely agree with the comment made back here that we shouldn't be giving handouts. That's just, the handouts are mind blowing, that we would choose to pay for somebody who came in with some form of income. And name your form. There's a whole bunch of them available, and I don't understand that. And I don't understand the whole logic of that you guys have shared. I don't understand some of the logic associated with the mass deportation, because I hear you, but it's an alien concept to me because of my business background. I just I can't get my head around it. You can tell me I could get more people, but I couldn't get more people.
Yeah.
And I did everything I could.
Did you hire? What year was that?
It was between 2001 and 2019 in Central Tennessee.
Well, COVID was not.
No, COVID didn't affect me at all.
Okay, so it never did.
Did you hire? Then you don't have to.
Well, I think it was the idea.
Were you forced to hire illegals?
Too.
No, we were not allowed to hire illegals.
Right.
We used the program that said we were not allowed to hire illegals.
Last
The
question.
system that just broke and doesn't work.
True that.
Because
Complete-
I've seen it firsthand.
Completely agree.
Last question on
On
this.
the handout thing, my mother was an immigrant in 1949. We did not allow them to go on any kind of benefits. They had to come in. be able to
Exactly.
support
Yeah,
the
that's the
work.
old mentality that was
No,
great.
This was the Democrats who changed that. LBJ, you go back and look. But on the changing the culture thing, one thing that I see now starting to finally be discussed, something I've been talking about since the 1990s, the Muslims invasion is what it is. It's not immigration. They're not coming here because they want to assimilate. They're not coming here because they want to be American citizens. They're coming here to defeat us. That is the 1400-year history, and any politician needs to get that through their head. We are in danger. We are in real danger.
She brings up a good point. What do you think about the Muslim thing? I mean, they're trying to outlaw Sharia law in Texas. That's a big thing.
In Michigan, they have laws.
I'm all for the outlawing of any law except the constitutional law.
That's good.
And to her point, I mean, when they tell you, "Oh, we're coming across the border, we're encouraging mass birth rates to." I mean, I have a good friend, they have a big business in Germany, and when it first started happening in Germany, I don't know, years and years ago, they were like, oh yeah, this is great, bring more people in, we need more workers, blah, blah, blah. Then, several years later, they're like, this is enough. We've seen, this is becoming a problem, gang rapes and, the neighborhood, the crime and all those types of things. How much of all that we're hearing is true, I don't really know, but it does appear to be occurring, and it seems to be a problem. And a lot of people are now of the belief that it's not necessarily a religion, it's more of a I don't know, a cultural invasion type thing, which is counterproductive to what America is supposed to stand for.
It's with what I believe we should be doing, which is controlled immigration. Controlled immigration,
which is the standards that were used up until the 60s.
Yeah.
And I've always, I mean, why do we not have work, true work visas where people can come in and work and then go back and all that kind of stuff?
Traditionally cost $10,000. I don't know what they cost now, but I know when we were trying to bring people in, these were technical people. We couldn't find technical people. They weren't available.
HB1s now cost $100,000.
Oh, really? So that's
what Trump raised the price of.
But he just did
not
that.
a solution though to the situation of controlled immigration, because a business like ours, which was a $120 million company, we're not going to pay $100,000 to bring in an employee.
Do you train them?
Yeah.
So it's on the job. So all these kids that can't, the college educations that have been worthless.
We
to a
recruited
degree.
at high school. We recruited at the high school level.
But
And
I
we
mean-
recruited across eight counties.
Well, the problem he's talking about in business, I mean, we had it where I worked. I worked at in Big 5, Big 8 accounting at the time. KPMG's, the Price Waterhouse, Big Law. I mean, we could not get kids. This was the premier jobs. Coming out of undergrad or grad school, we couldn't get kids to work. And I was just like, it was bizarre. And we'd cut them and go hire new people, but I'm like, you couldn't get them to work. They just, there is a different mentality to it. So,
please.
Yes, please.
I'm a former executive of Microsoft Research. It costs us $250,000 to bring a person in. There are not enough people in this country that are proficient in the technologies that we need.
School system.
Well,
The school
it's-
system.
No, ma'am, it's not school system. How many of your children, grandchildren, are in tech?
Well, no, invest.
Okay.
But they understand tech, and one of them does, yeah.
No, actually in tech, or have a degree or working toward a degree. So you see the percentages in here? It's probably about 2 to 3%. We're about to change into a whole new world. I don't want to go down this path right now. But yes, and I am proficient in AI. So where
I have a question.
Well, let him speak. 'Cause we want to hear this because this is a very important thing.
and I don't want to dominate.
No, that's
This is all small.
No, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say right now is we as a country do not have enough high-tech people. We're not generating them. A lot of reasons for it. And you can encourage your children. I have 4 children, and only one of those 4 went into high tech, despite the fact that they had the genetics for it. There's a lot of reasons for this, but where I'm going with this is that we need to be able to bring into this country folks that do have the technical proficiency and assimilate this.
tech is ruining our lives.
It's the second part of the discussion, but please go on.
I just want to kind of close it with this, and that is it costs $250,000 to bring in someone. This is what we were paying at Microsoft years ago. I don't even know what it is today. On top, and that was before the $100,000. We're not producing enough. We're having to bring them in. We tried to offshore this. This was a mistake. I saw what we were doing in China. I was there. I saw what we pushed over there, and we're having to bring it back. So, and other countries. And so just on this one topic about high tech, we are not generating enough at this point in time. I don't know the answer to it. I just know that we're not doing it, and we need more, much more.
My point of letting him speak and all this, because this is important, because this is the discussions that go on. This is what people, nobody wants to be in a circular, what do they call them? Well, not the circular fire squad, but one like mine. This is the discussions that are going on from business people, and they're hearing, and I trust both of you all have had the problems. I hear about the problems at Microsoft. I hear about the problems at other businesses that are out there. How do you get people to do it? You discounted education. I think it comes out of our education problem. Mm-hmm. I honestly do. Mm-hmm. And, that we're big into school choice, and that's kind of what we're trying to do and trying to help improve and work on, but I've experienced it myself, kids not wanting to work. They're wanting to play on their phones and play games and do other kind of stuff. How do we do that? While I've seen other kids, Polish kids, when we know over in Poland, I mean, they're willing to work. I know I have a friend that has an engineering company that they offshore engineers into Poland, because those guys are, engineering people.
I would look at the programs in Germany and in Western Europe. And some in Eastern Europe with respect to the paths that they bring or offer to their children. So more of those children are going through the programs. Right. And to the person I said, no, this is a school problem, I retract that. I think there's what we can do at the school system level to encourage it in the United States. And probably some of the models are in Europe. Because we don't have this models here.
We need to start children at a very young age understanding the technical fields now. Because what's happening is we're prepping them to go to college, and they go to college where they study women's studies, political science, accounting, nothing personal, but accounting, things that have because thing like this, in the event that society completely collapses. Who are going to be the people of importance? People who have the ability to repair things, the ability to build things.
But it's also the tech people. Robots. We need tech.
But they're part of the building process.
AI is coming, and it is.
The problem, though, is these children are going to school thinking, I'm going to go into this field because they look at what the career value of the job is, and not the big picture of, am I really employable in this? Because I remember back in the late 80s, everybody was going to school to get a BA. Everybody knows what a BA is. It's a bachelor. So you can become a business administrator. You couldn't find a job as a business administrator during the late 80s because everybody and their brother had a damn degree. And people were having to go back to college. I had a personal friend of mine in high school. He started out electrical engineer, did that for 3 years, changed his mind, went into business, got down in business, went back, had to go back to school, basically start over, get his business degree, struggled for 5 years looking for a business job, ended up going back to school and learned computer sciences and became a tech person. Because he realized there's nobody going to pay for that damn degree that you have unless there is some value tied to it. And that means you have
there's more work to get a tech degree, technology or some IT type degree than it is to get a BA. Is it,
But if we start these children at a younger age understanding the tech instead of teaching them what they're learning now, because they're not learning anything. I see this firsthand. I'm raising 4 grandchildren in my house. And I'm seeing this firsthand. I'm constantly having to, reteach them things that they should have learned when they were infants and in their first few years of school.
There's an education.
I'd love to be able to host a single subject on this at some point in time. This could go on for hours.
Sure.
It's a great topic. I'd love for
Yes.
after you can for it to get back to Don's platform.
Since Anthony invited Don, I'll let Anthony ask his question, then we'll move on to the next speaker.
statement I'm going to make. I'm a blue collar guy, electrician, and I believe that a lot of trade schools.
Yes.
We need to be
Yes.
financing this white collar stuff.
Absolutely.
No offense, but we need more of this
Blue collar.
financial institution to finance the blue collar.
Absolutely.
The trade school.
Right.
Any trade.
That's what Josh was judging.
I totally agree.
Yeah, but
And it has changed. I will say, I got an undergraduate degree from school, and then went straight through, got a law degree and MBA from the University of South Carolina, had $20,000 worth of debt. These kids now have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, and they're slaves to it forever, and it's a problem. But if I was growing up today, I'd do a totally different track.
I'd be a plumber.
Or what? They say welding, but a plumber or I actually am an electrician. I'm not as good as him. Anthony is a good electrician, and he does some stuff for us, and has helped us. But that obviously, immigration is going to be a hot point.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, well, we have a lot of agreements, but there's also emotional disagreements, and I understand.
Yes, and a lot of that emotion has been spun up by the media and all that kind of stuff, and the political people on both sides. And I do feel bad for the folks that are being in the middle and caught in the middle.
So if I just pivot to a different thing, and this is my last initiative that I am been talking about, and that is I'm sick of spam. And I'm sick of people buying my personal data that I did not give permission to.
There you go.
And I think we have
We're back to total agreement.
We get on board with it. I think we all are tired of that garbage.
We're 99% all there.
But here's the precedent. The precedent is we've successfully implemented HIPAA. And HIPAA is okay and good. If we can successfully implement HIPAA, then why can't we successfully implement personal data protections for the people who know my mortgage company? They know how much I owe. They know how much my taxes are. They know where I live. They know where I live. They know my phone number. They know the things that I'm shopping for.
And they call you 400 times a day.
Yeah, so I would be all about expanding HIPAA to personal data protection and making illegal data brokers, which, by the way, the biggest data broker is the government.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to buy, as an FEC registered candidate, I was able to buy 3.3 million records from South Carolina for $2,500. I can get your name, your address, your party affiliation, your year of birth, and whether or not you voted in the last 2 elections. Not who you voted for, but whether or not you voted. I can buy that as a candidate for $2,500. I'm refusing to do that. I'm not accepting donations for my campaign. This is all grassroots that I'm doing. I'm not interested in spamming people. And in fact, you can tell your candidates that, since I am still predominantly a GOP voter, if they spam me, I will not vote for them. Number 1 on the list right now is Ron Reddy. He's not getting a vote from me because Ron Reddy. He's already spamming me, and oh, by the way, here's what it costs.
Spamming your email or your phone?
My
Or
text.
Text.
So,
Okay, yeah.
so and let me tell you what that costs, so you know. 0.008 cents per spam. They've been. I got vendors calling me all the time, saying I'll send out 3.3 million or whatever diced up amount you want to send it to. I'll send them out for 0.008 cents per spam, and so somebody's bought my data. I didn't give them permission. And then they're selling it to somebody who's using my data to send me information that I don't want. So I'm going to enact my own controls on that by saying, you spam me, I don't vote for you. That's just the deal. So because they've proven that they don't respect my personal information. So that's my actions plan that I put up. And I think I got through this pretty good, except for the one thing. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm going to talk about some areas of concern. This is back to the disaffected Republican, and I want you to hear a perspective on why I feel disaffected. One is The SAVE Act, which I am very favorable toward, because I think you ought to have an ID to vote. You got to have an ID to do anything. You got to have an ID to vote. But here's the part that I'm really frustrated with. The SAVE Act doesn't have. If I am a trusted traveler of the United States, and I have a passport, and I have a South Carolina Real ID, and I can log into Social Security, and I can log into the DMV, and I can log into scvotes.gov, and I can log into my financial institution, all of which I have to trust because they got controls in place so it doesn't get hacked, other than when Nikki Haley lets them get out. But other than that, we're pretty clean. If I can do all these things online, I trust my finances with my credentials. I trust everything with my credentials. I trust it with Social Security Administration. I trust it with the IRS. Not the IRS itself, but I trust it with my credentials, logging in with that. Then why can't I vote online if I'm known to the government? No. Why can't my credentials be used online? I don't understand it. And I don't understand why, as a candidate, I got to go out and get signatures and addresses and signatures, addresses, and
vote online?
It is saying that.
I am
that.
saying that.
But it's important to hear that some people think this way.
I think it's ridiculous that we can't do any of these things online, but my bank account is online, my Social Security is online. The government knows who I am.
I used to think the same way. So we'll have this discussion.
Read what Austin said online. He's one of our tech guys.
Austin Higgs. Most people have no idea how much data Microsoft Windows collects, which is right. And it's everything. Your phone is collecting data on you now. It's all that kind of stuff. Yeah. A couple of points here. One would think that voting online and doing your banking online, I don't think there are nefarious people trying. This is actually I made this argument a couple months ago about this. There was no stealing of financial money. I mean, our GOP bank account was hacked twice, in maybe six. Most bank Travis Rose about 6 months ago. 27 grand they just sucked away somewhere to Germany. Now we got it back in and they released it and we didn't lose anything. And then it happened again. Had before, when everything was done by paper, not computer, there was never that problem. So that I'm saying that in the sense of how a lot of people think about the elections and the data right now. There are nefarious people, just like there are nefarious people that want the cash. There are nefarious people that want to change how elections do turn out. They truly are, and you can do it. There are tech people that are smart enough to do it. That's the fear people have with it. But I was of the mindset that a long time ago, I was like, this would be a whole lot more convenient if I could vote online and do that stuff. The problem is at the end, on that other side, once it's there, it is so easy relative to a whole bunch of paper ballots to manipulate it. That's where I'm, this is why I think these conversations are good, because I want candidates to think about it. I want the left to think about it. I want some of our Republicans to think about it. It makes logical sense. Why can't we do this? It made logical sense to me. Why do we have, a sheriff's department, a SLED, a city police? Why do we have an FBI? Why do we have, all those different police forces? Well, because there's more apt for corruption to do that. So that's why you're hearing a little pushback on the voting online. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to add to that. There's a certain amount of checks and balances. I mean, you can check your bank account and see if there's problem.
You don't know whether you actually voted or not.
But if that same person is going after the voting database, who's watching him? If someone manipulates the database, who's going to know? But if someone's taking money out of your account,
there are controls in place, because we had to do it as a foreign trade zone. We had that. Well, the election was paper based, and they were sending out mail-in ballots to people that before were going to one address. And then the chain of custody on mail-in is absurd. You put it in your mailbox, somebody can steal it. Your mailman carries it, they can throw it out the window.
Mail-in ballots aren't good either.
I agree, but I think online would be a whole lot better than that. And the controls are available there, and they are strong controls, and they're audited by people who try to have they're the white hats, the people that try to get in.
But who appoints those people? The people getting elected.
No, they're usually a third-party audit, like it's a KPMG type
I'm
organization.
I'm sorry, that's not very convincing.
There's a lot of people that believe there's a lot of corruption in the election.
Yes, there is.
What I tell people is yes, I hear, we have the safest election. They've been hacking elections for as long as we've been having democratic elections. They've been hacking it when it was paper and all that stuff in the old days. I agree with that too. But I mean, there are evil people that want to manipulate and control who is in elected office. And I don't care. I don't think there is a way to control that.
Nope.
I would say if somebody can hack into our bank account, they can hack into the election databases. I mean, there's abilities to do that.
That's bad on your bank. It's bad controls. That's all.
And what about the AI brain thing that's supposed to continue to grow and get all this, and then it'll be learning, and it will be able to tell us what to do? No.
And the AI is doing the actual hacking now. You can set up the bots to do whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying. I mean, it's. I think there's a sense of an arrogance to think that it is foolproof.
I would love to have a more fact-based discussion on
this.
this. I don't think this is the time, but I have a belief, much like Don, and support him in this, and that this is a problem that can be solved.
There's Anthony.
They're saying that AI is going to be able to figure out the missile whatever. And missiles, that's not fantasy. It's saying that yes, it will be able to do that.
It already is. That's how Operation Midnight Hammer happens.
But I'm saying, and if it can do that, it can do anything.
Anthony?
Yeah, the online voting, I would have to see some serious security and authentication. I don't know if everybody noticed it when you go on your bank account now, your investments, you have to send it to your phone. I won't feel secure until there's some kind of real security, authentication as a vote. So what we experienced over these years, I wouldn't trust anything online right now until there's some serious security.
I mean, think about the very simple things. I mean, Anthony has 3 people that wants to come with him to our baseball game on the 19th. I texted him the link. Says, we'll just go online and get it. I texted, and he's like, I don't see a link. I texted it to him again. Olga goes over there and looks at his phone. I mean, the text that I sent him shows up on my phone. Is not showing up on his phone. That's a simple thing. I get it, and but when you're taking hundreds of millions of votes, and it's kind of like you're going to have errors. We're gonna have errors and issues if we're doing paper all over the place. But I think there's a huge fear of folks that there's a possibility to do it. And you're thinking it governs and directs trillions of dollars. It directs huge policy things. There are people out there that will say, hey, I'm willing to invest $1 billion or $2 billion or $10 billion into having control of who the president of the United States might be. There are people out there. And if I gave you $10 billion, do you think you can figure out a way to do it? You maybe could. I mean, I think that there are people that do that.
We don't want to do this debate right now. Okay.
I think people need to really study Agenda 2030. We have been fighting a globalist agenda made more real in the last 5 years. If they are pushing to bring in central bank digital currency. And we saw when the truckers went up to Canada to fight during COVID that Trudeau was able to shut off their bank accounts. Okay, if you don't have tangible gold and silver and tangible assets, we're in big trouble, okay? Trump trotted out Larry Ellison 3 days after the inauguration, and he's building an AI surveillance system that will make us all behave, he said. Okay? This is what we're dealing with. Our lives have been stolen from technology. I'm sorry, but they have. We need to go back to the farm. We need to get our lives back. Right now, we're breathing in nanotechnology from the geoengineering planes that they're dropping on our sky. They call it the Internet of Bodies. They're putting nanotechnology in our bodies right as we speak. So if you think going more digital and more is we're going into total enslavement if the people don't wake up.
Yep.
There's people that are further out than I am, yeah. But I will tell you, a lot of people that I would say 5 or 10 years ago that I thought were further out ended up being proven right on a lot of things. And that's why I think on all sides, people need to listen and hear and then respond to it. I mean, there has to be an answer to some of this type of stuff. I mean, and why do certain people push back and say, oh no, I'm just not even gonna entertain it. And that's where I get the issues and problems where people don't even want to entertain.
Look, it's very true that technology will always lead policy. And right now, we do need policies in place in a number of these areas, including AI. But again, this is a deeper discussion, and I'd love to have that conversation with Dawn, but this is Dawn's moment. I just want to let Dawn know we can solve these problems.
Let me just close out with two things. One, I'd like to close out, if I could, with things that I am very concerned about if your party, our party, allows Lindsey Graham to be reelected.
No.
And that is, well, here's the three things that I'm bothered by, and I don't know if you will be or not, but there are three functions of the Senate that I think are really valuable functions. One of them is the last hurdle of vetting before a bill is sent to the president. They're supposed to be the sensible hurdle. And Lindsey Graham is in leadership in the Senate. And during the last 5 years, the number of bills that are passing to the president have dropped from 180 to 140. And the time required to move a bill from Congress to the Senate, or from the House to the Senate, is averaging 10 months. And the president gets 10 days. So the Congress gets 10 months. The process is very slow and not nimble. And so I feel like in his leadership position, and the main job of Senate is to be the last bastion of law vetting, they're not being effective if you measure it in terms of productivity or speed or volume of bills. So that's one thing that's troubling. Another thing that's troubling is Lindsey Graham is in charge of, or is on rather, the Judiciary Committee. And we have 35 open federal lifetime judge positions open right now. And we have a majority Republican Senate. And the only thing required to appoint these people is a majority vote. So you have to ask the question, if he's in a position of leadership and the judiciary has 35 openings that if they don't fill and they lose the Senate, they won't have the ability to fill those openings. So that's another area of leadership that I think there's been a serious failure. And the last one is associated with his position as the chairman of the Budget Committee, Senate Budget Committee, and a member of the Appropriations Committee. So since 1996, there's never been a year where all 12 appropriations bills have been passed on time. That means by September 30th. Not one time since 1996 has Congress done that. So they always have continuing resolutions or omnibus bills that basically say, whatever we've been doing, we need to keep on doing. And they're spending some money that is just nutty money that they could easily review and say, is what we were doing in 1995 something we should be doing in 2027? But they're not, and they haven't. And so if you're in a position of leadership and you're not passing a budget, and that's your chairmanship role, and you're not appropriating on the 12 appropriations bills ever during your tenure, 24 years now, almost to doing that. So what is it you're doing in your job? And that's a problem that I'm having. And then there's one last one that's associated with South Carolina, and that is our roads are terrible. We all agree our roads are terrible. 75% of road construction monies come from the state. 25% comes from the federal. Federal, on average, gives states $40,000 per mile That's the average per state, $40,000 per mile federal funding per year to redo roads and bridges. South Carolina gets $25,000 per mile. Our senator's in charge of the appropriations and the budget. And we're getting 25, while the average, which we pull down, is 40,000 per mile. And that just says to me, he's not looking out for South Carolinians.
He's too busy going to Israel.
Well, he wants to be Secretary of State, but he didn't get the appointment. So that's the.
Well, and I was not aware of that. I would like to find that, or if you know and have the details to that, please send it to me.
Which part?
About the 40,000, or the average of 40,000. South Carolina is only getting 25,000.
No, sure. I'll send you a note.
I mean, I would like to, because we like to see the facts and share that out with people. I find that very interesting. Don't doubt you whatsoever. Because what we also, what I would add into that is we deal with a lot of the real practicalities, or at least I look at, like to teach people about the practicalities, what goes on in politics. Lindsey Graham, to get what Lindsey Graham wants, might be selling out on that 25 versus getting 40 average to get something else that he personally wants or one of his donors wants. That's how a lot of this stuff.
But he represents us.
Well, he's supposed to, yes. Yeah. He's supposed to. But they get to a position where they know, you know what, I'm getting reelected. I got all this money coming in. It doesn't really matter if I represent the people. That's why there's the frustration. And I think this has probably been the best opportunity to make a change. If your goal is to get rid of Lindsey Graham, I think it has been wasted in great part because of a particular candidate on the Republican side. But we as Republicans and certainly as members of the party and leadership in the party, we have to support. We don't have to go out and do anything, but we have to support, and we can't oppose the Republican nominee that we'll have after June 9th or a runoff on the June 23rd. But other people can still vote however we want.
No, and I'll be backstopping if God willing. I'll be backstopping to say there's at least another choice.
Yeah, but what I would caution. I mean, there is a lot in politics, and these things, those problems are easy things. Omnibus bills, 12 different bills. It should be easy to do. Why are they not doing it? Because they're doing other nefarious, ulterior motives of things that are out there, and they're cutting deals. I mean, it's bad in D.C., it's bad in Columbia, and it's bad in Greenville County and over there.
You can be honest and say to the people what's happening actually and why you aren't getting these things done, and why we put you in office, and you could.
But the bigger problem is we need 100 of them in 50 states.
It would be nice to have communication to understand why they can't get these things done and understand what the problem is. So the next election comes along, we know what else to do.
The question I have on the federal judgeships is that.
Speak louder into the mic. I hate to say it.
Everybody, Harry.
I know, but the mic can't pick up.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Here we are. Okay, I guess it's on. No, the federal judgeships, is that the same problem? Is that a blue slip issue? The same with the isn't it like with the U.S. attorneys, where if a
I don't know if it's 35 judgeships or is it 35 U.S. attorneys?
Federal judges.
You're talking about federal judges, and maybe that's not an issue, but it's the blue slip issue where a Democrat senator in some state doesn't like that. It affects his state. Then he gives this little blue slip in that says no, and that stops the whole thing. And we know Thune doesn't have a backbone to stop blue slips, to do a lot of things to help Trump.
What points to the leadership issue, and that's all I'm saying.
And I don't hear Lindsey Graham talking about any of that crap. I mean, he never fights back against.
He's trying to mislead with, they're doing anti-Semitic things. It is trying to mislead. I don't certainly agree with some of the things other folks have done, in the campaigns, but he's trying to distract from the big issues. What Don is trying to point out is look at the big issues and all that type of stuff.
Same thing, not having a talking
this whole phantom filibuster going on.
But you're making the logical point that why are we not doing this? It seems logical to all. I think the vast majority of people see a lot of this as logical. You know, I mean, why are we not doing these things? And we're not doing them because I think there's other things behind the scenes that we don't know about. That's my point about immigration. That's my point about safe elections. It's still, we need to get more together on things, and we need to, number one, understand that the politicians that we are electing are not representing the people anymore. Once they get elected, they all seem to flip and they start operating in a different environment.
And then election year, we hear the same thing over what we want to hear.
You hear that about Lindsay. He's the way he is for 5 years. Then in the election year, he starts supporting Trump or doing whatever whatever the version was the other times that he was elected. So yes.
So what's your position on the silent filibuster? Should we get rid of it?
I think the answer is no. And the reason I say no is because someday it'll be used against whatever side you're on. And it's the last bastion of sensibility that you have to have some plurality to say this is going to be a new law. And I think killing the filibuster would be a very bad thing.
I don't believe in killing the filibuster. It's killing the silent filibuster.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah.
You know, that classic movie where he spoke for
2 days.
nobody, whatever it was. I mean, and force them to do that, and then they're in public expressing their opinions on why they're against something. It works for both sides, but still, why they get rid of that?
Well,
Made it convenient with a silent filibuster.
I agree with you on that. I also agree that we've talked about this, but if they haven't approved the budget, they shouldn't be able to go on recess.
No.
I mean, sorry, but your job is to approve appropriations bills, and if you don't get it done, then don't go on recess.
Scott? Hold on.
I just want to bring up, I was the election integrity chairman previously in the last 2 years, previous to this year. And I just didn't want the idea of voting online to go unanswered by a former chair of that. And I want to invite everyone to go to South Carolina Safe Elections to learn more about why we don't want to online vote.
SCSafeelections.org.
Yeah, SC Safe Elections. It's a good time. It's a good learning, to take this moment and go look at that information, because these phones and computers, they look safe, but they're not. But I want to leave with one quote. It's one of my favorite movies. It's called The Core. And this actor, DJ Quayles, his name's Rap in this movie. He says, "Well, I speak one language, 10100. With that, I could steal your money, your secrets, your sexual fantasies, your whole life. In any country, anytime, any place I want. We multitask like you breathe. I couldn't think as slow as you if I tried." It's a really good quote, because some of these knowledgeable people that are hackers. I'm a trained certified ethical hacker. I'm a white hat. Okay, I use what I know for good, but not everyone does that.
I think you're in the minority.
Okay, the extreme minority. So
he did get a new Jeep the other day, so
yeah,
we might have gone to the other side.
but no, it's just, I think it's a good opportunity to.
I appreciate
to
it.
learn. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Because it upsets a lot of us to hear that, but it's really good for us to know that people are thinking that we could, use our phones, and we have knowledge of what's been done with our elections that is terrible, absolutely terrible.
Here or outside of here?
Actually, Arizona had our voter data on their machines. So,
Well,
you
I
get
can
the
buy
idea.
that for $2,500.
It's like terrifying, But yeah, so I just didn't want to leave the meeting without hearing that. It's a funny quote too. It's like awesome to hear it on TV, but yeah. So anyway, thank you for
Thank you.
Well, and thank you for Ron. And the one thing before we give you the big applause.
Well, I want to do a moment of celebration if I could too.
Sure. Yeah.
Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead for that.
I don't like to end meetings without a moment of celebration. So here's some celebrations.
Oh, look at him. I saw him keep counting, and I'm like, he's counting down to the Trump celebration.
These are the celebrations, though. I'm celebrating border control. I'm celebrating tax reduction. I'm celebrating deported convicts. I'm celebrating Operation Midnight Hammer. I'm celebrating the first phase of Operation Epic Fury. And I'm celebrating Bye Bye DEI. So those are things that are worth celebrating. And I want to thank you all for listening, for sharing your perspectives, for not running me off, and for giving me the invitation to come. I found it immensely instructive and helpful, and hope that it will cause me to be a better candidate, a better person, and keep my mind open. So
thank you for doing that. So give us your full name, your all your social media. Where do people find you, read more about you, all that kind of good stuff?
I'm Don for USSenate.com.
Don for USSenate.com.
Don for USSenate.com.
But what is your last name?
Oh, my last name's Lewis. I'm sorry.
Don Lewis.
Yeah, Don Lewis, Louis, like to sing. Yeah.
Teach him to say that. Always say your name, introduce your name,
Oh,
slip
I'm
it in
sorry.
4 or 5 times during the conversation. Well, Don Lewis says.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I have I'm on X, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Facebook is Don for USSenate.com.
All of
I'm
them.
on Ballotpedia.
So you're better than most politicians because you're on all the things. You have hopefully the same name for all of them.
On Twitter, I don't. The rest of them, I'm okay.
Twitter sometimes you have to be a little shorter.
Yeah, but I'm on all of them except Blue Sky, and I just haven't ever been on Blue Sky, so I don't.
What is Blue Sky?
What?
I thought that was in that movie. Blue Sky.
Is that what that is?
Is it real?
I didn't even know what it was. I've seen it listed. And I said,
Slip in there and see what happens.
I have to say, I don't like some of those forums are just filled with angry people. And I don't think angry people. I had a pastor one time that asked the question in a sermon: "Is your anger a good thing?" And I've never lost that. I always remember my anger is never a good thing.
It's not, and it keeps people from talking. So I mean, some people, you heard a couple things, 2, maybe 1. And people have a reaction to it, but we have to hear what everyone's talking about. We have to understand it.
You've done a very good job of that.
I agree.
I try very much. Well, the example I give, and quite frankly, I've kind of wanted to introduce this before, but people talk about sex trafficking. I remember when people first started about sex trafficking, you'd look at them like they were some wacky human being, and I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. Who would do that? I mean, we all know about drug dealers and all that kind of stuff. Well, but someone explained to me the economics of it. If I'm a drug dealer, and we have drug dealers that kill people, and they don't really care what the end result of selling their drugs and their wares, and how it destroys lives. Those people do anything for money. Sex trafficking, but they got to get the drugs from wherever they're getting them from, sell them. Then they got to go back and get more and do that whole process. Sex trafficking is you get a human, boy, girl, youth, of age, whatever. And you sell them multiple times a day, 20 times a day, every day. Until then, they're, for several years, they run out of their usefulness and you get enough. They kill them and sell their organs. There's just that whole thing out there. But I'm like, oh my God, this is like
That's a prime candidate for the death penalty.
Yes,
and it is also a prime candidate for the elimination of statute of limitations on sexual crimes.
Yes, thank you. You're at,
needs to be stopped.
yes. There are a lot of things that we can all get on agreement with, but there's also it taught me to be open. I'm pretty open-minded about anything, and I'll listen. I might not always agree, but I will listen to everything. But that, and you're right. And we need to all get in agreement that is a serious problem. That it's real.
I could have solved the Epstein problem in 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's one of the top 10 things of congressional record for 2025. One of the top 10 page counts on the
Really?
congressional record.
What's
And
your
I could have solved it in 2 weeks.
Tell me.
All you have to do is you have to eliminate the statute of limitations for sex crimes, and you have to claim eminent domain on every asset that man and his associates have.
Yes.
Take that money, award it pro rata to the people who were victimized, who are listed and named, and then let them file civil suits against the people who victimized them and ruin their lives if they can.
That's
a low idea.
Yes.
Judge, I
Yes.
just have an event announcement.
Okay, one event announcement. We'll pass this back over
Thanks.
to you.
Thanks.
Supposed to be here. Tom, you're welcome to stay, or it's we're going to be down in a few minutes anyhow. But thank you.
I'd like to stay. I
Okay.
miss them.
All right, I'm gonna. But we can't talk about you. No, I'm just kidding. We won't talk about you. You've been fantastic, and really thank you for what y'all are doing.
Secret handshake. We want to see the secret handshake.
No, there. Yeah, all right.
Okay, folks, mark your calendar, May 18th, 6 o'clock, El Bethel Baptist Church. See me for I could say the address, 313 Jones Avenue in Greer. Representative Lee Gilreath will be there. I don't know if Dane Whittington, who's been fighting geoengineering for 30 years, is going to be on a live screen or is going to be with us in person. But there's going to be a conference about that, or geoengineering, the toxic skies, what they're doing, all the stuff, the sulfur oxide they're using to block the sun, and all the nanoparticles that we're breathing in, the aluminum, the barium, the strontium, tons of aluminum we're breathing in Alzheimer's. So I don't know if any of you've noticed, but I've left some brochures there about what's going on in our sky. So that's 6 o'clock, May 18th, El Bethel Baptist Church, 313 Jones Avenue in Greer. If you need any more, just come and talk.
Okay, what's the date again?
Yeah, it's May 18th.
May 18th. Okay. If they've got a handout, bring that to us and we'll put it out there. Lee Gilreath is out of the House rep out of Anderson. I think part of his district's in Greenville. I'm not sure or not. But moving on, we just got. Oh, do you have an update?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do your pro-life update real quick, and then I'm going to talk about our 10,000 newspapers we just got.
Hannah, the troublemaker that's replaced Kawani at the clinic, she's been banned at least until her next hearing. She was arrested for assault and indecent exposure.
What a shame.
Where? At the
clinic.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
She had a $30,000 bond, and she's not allowed to the clinic at least until her hearing. She's one of the pro-aborts who's very aggressive.
On Grove Road?
There's 3 abortion clinics in this state. This is the one that's down
I
on
always see
Grove
there's
Road.
people there protesting. I know, I just assumed that was, is there more than that one?
Well, Kawani's been banned until February. Hannah's one of the ones who came to replace her.
There's some that are very active and funded through other groups.
You can go to lifeongroveroad.com. You'll see just how ugly these people are.
They're evil.
And if you've never gone down there,
You won't believe it until you actually see the stuff that they do.
It's amazing to watch what people will do for their political activism. And it's not the right way. But go
Anyway,
ahead.
she was the one who was stealing that nun's stuff a few weeks ago and eventually chased her off.
Yes.
So that's the same one that got arrested this week. Egypt's law H5181 is in judicial committee. Supposedly it's coming up for a hearing. That's the one that would remove the 3-year statute of limitation on a fatal injury being prosecutable.
They had a hearing last week.
Oh, it was last week?
Last week, yeah.
Okay, that's my
Part about it last night in the legislative committee.
okay. All right. Maybe you should have talked about it then.
yeah,
When I did my research, it showed it was still in the judicial committee.
It is. And the reason is there was a really good lady prosecutor, former prosecutor, member of the South Carolina Association of Defense Lawyers.
Okay.
That testified for it, but made a couple of good points that they want to put into the bill. And one is to eliminate, for this particular bill, is to eliminate double jeopardy. So if a guy beats a baby up and it doesn't die, but they still get arrested and convicted of that if the baby dies 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, they can come back and get them for homicide. And so they want to work that in the bill. And there was another one too. I can't remember the term she had, but it was a couple of really good points. And they said they wanted her to give them the actual words, and they wanted to put the actual language into the bill. And and Kaya Jackson, who's the child who died, she testified and did a really great job with the hearing. So it's now 5181, and they changed from 3-year statute of limitations to 10 years. And agreed that was so it's not unlimited, which the prosecutors say, former prosecutors say is good, because if you make it unlimited, 20 years from now, 30 years people have died, it's impossible to convict somebody. So they set it at 10 years.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
And I don't know if there's ever a way to figure it out. That was not the law when I was in law school, because I mean, we actually talked about it. If I hit you, hit you on the head with a hammer, you end up dying 10 years later, I can come back and be held for murder. That's kind of what this is all about. And I am super curious why they added that into the law. There must have been some legislative record as to what the purpose was of adding that 3-year statute of limitations in there. I don't know if we figured that out. Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things. I think to study history is to study the future, but figure that out. And if you ever get a chance, if you ever see it, or if it comes up in one of those hearings, find out why they put it in there in the first place.
Okay,
do a shameless plug for
the socialist slides I use for my talks I now have on the Google Drive. I sent out links to everyone who attended the events.
Right.
But if other people are interested, just let me know, and I'll get you copies to my slides. The Piedmont Women's Center had made a promise that if we sent anybody over there, that they would see them that day in order to help us, create saves. They didn't keep that promise. Last week, Jim sent somebody. Oh, actually Tuesday, Jim sent someone over there, and when they came out, he went to talk to the woman as she came out. She said, "I got an appointment on Thursday," which would have been 2 days later. So that was a promise that they made to sidewalk advocates. So that drama is still going on.
Okay. And just to remind everybody, we're going to take his presentation and we're going to film it probably in July, just so we can have clean copies of that and share that with the slides and everything too.
Yeah. And for last Monday, we had our talk on organ harvesting, which focused a lot on euthanasia and assisted suicide as well. But for those who want to see if you're on your donor list, check out nrlc.org. It's just because you took it off your driver's license doesn't necessarily mean you're off the database. We let the government run that program, so take that for what it's worth.
NRLC? Is that the National Right to Life, folks?
Yeah, no, that National Right to Life, that's where you go to get the will to live, the correct medical will. And they have them there for every state, legal documents that you can fill out instead of a living will, which is basically a euthanasia will. The will to live is Christian based, and
and it is tailored to every state because they don't necessarily translate.
But it's donate. I think it's donate life. Is it donate life SC that where you go to find out if you're on. Well, if you have a heart on your driver's license,
you're on. Yeah.
You're on the donor list, which trumps everything. If you get critically injured, you're in there. They're gonna want everything they can to take your organs because they completely take over. Your family's out. Will did marriage will said, get that heart off your driver's license, and then go and check your donor registry and make sure.
It's a very interesting presentation. It's something to think about. Again, it's one of those things you're like, that can't be true. And it's like
1986, Monty Python's.
Donation of your organs, keep it in your own will, and take your family to decide and not leave it up to the organ harvest.
In 1986, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life had a 6-minute skit about 2 men show up at a door. They say, "We're here for your liver." The guy says, "But I'm using it." So they shove him up against the wall, pull his wallet out, and says, "Is this your driver's license?" "Yes." "Does it say organ donor?" He said, "Yes." "Well, we're taking it." He says, but I'm supposed to be dead." He said, "No one survived our operation." And that's basically what that in 6 minutes that summarized the talk we had last Monday. Again, our upcoming events, to follow up on that cheerful note, Carrie will be talking about euthanasia and assisted suicide. And month after that, we're actually going to do something inspiring and uplifting. It's going to be theology of the body. It's going to talk about why our bodies do have intrinsic value. We're not just sex toys. We actually are beautifully made and should treat ourselves as such. And then in July, I'll be giving a talk on morality and ethics. A lot of the problems we have is people are talking different languages. They're using the same words, but the words mean something different. And I'm going to try and explain why this is happening. And then hopefully you can use that to leverage more meaningful conversations with people.
Very good. And those are the first Monday of each month. And which one are you doing, Bryce?
Except for July, because that's when you guys
July.
got your meetings and everything else.
Okay.
We'll be doing that one on the 20th of July.
Okay, very good.
No, they're
mainly at Denny's.
That'll be at Denny's, except for theology of the body. Theology of the body we're planning to have at Christ on Main.
Scott's got a shout out
I
for
just wanted to
something.
Point out that Frank Gunther back here is doing a great job with the legislative committee.
He did a great job of tilling the front yard too. And the corn. Oh, we need
And
to
I
water,
was
yeah.
just in one of the best meetings last night because he brought up the organ. You know, that guy. Ray brought it up. Okay, Ray, you were there. Okay, great. So I literally, we're in this, I'm in this legislative committee and that got brought up and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna go check. And I found myself on the registry and I'm like, well, I'll just take myself off right now. So, but yeah, we need more people in the legislative committee to watch different bills. And what we do is we watch bills, we take a concern and we watch all bills at the same time. We don't just pick one and deal with that one. We look at legislation anywhere it exists across. Right now, it's 3,610 bills. 121 have been signed into law. So you can see, yeah, it's so bad.
It's really bad. Or else it's employed. They act like they're doing a lot of work. But getting up.
Yeah. Actually, it's 3,615 now, I believe. I
Okay.
just checked. So
Sunset
yeah.
clauses on them?
Huh?
Any sunset clauses on them?
Probably not.
What we do is we have a person picks their concern they're interested in, right, like right to life, and then they watch that in all bills. We have tools built for that, for the legislative committee to do that. That's far beyond what's built the state. So I just want to, my shameless plug is join us because we need more. We can't answer questions. What we need to do is have, if you're interested in legislation, join the group so you can watch bills, whatever you're interested in
If
monitoring.
you have a passion for something, a topic, geoengineering, whatever, we can give you the tools to see.
No one can hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start over again. A lot of we use is if you got a passion for something, we can give you the tools, we can show you what bills to follow. We do have 7 resolutions that the county has passed, that those are ones where we are following do though. But if you have something else you're interested in, please join. We give you the tools to follow the bills, and we have options that we can do call to action if they're hearing it in whatever committee they're in. What's interesting now, what I started the meeting on, is people were looking at bills that basically went around the table and asked them, well, what's going on with your bill? So I'm looking at close primaries and judicial reform, and I said, well, they went to committee to die, basically. So they haven't done anything since February. So I think it's because of the election coming up. Yep. So everything, they're pretty much on pause and haven't done anything. Like we said, only 2% of people filed bills, file bills, put co-sponsor and do all this activity, but nothing's happening. My attitude though is I'm also thinking the less they do, the less they hurt us.
It's part of the truth. And what we're going to do, there's only sine die, I think, is May 7th. If I'm not mistaken, that's when they will adjourn. Unless they have anything, they keep on the sine die resolution. They're done for the year, and nothing will happen until next January. But then we'll do, with the legislative committee, we'll have a recap of what we learned from the year. And a lot of it has to do with nothing moves to the Senate because none of them are up for election. The state Senate and the House aren't very many of the House reps are not being challenged, so there's not much going to go on between now and the remaining 30 days.
Jeff, we want to talk to you about a report card.
Yes.
That we want to put
Yes.
together.
Yes.
For all
Yes.
legislators.
And the state, what we're doing on the state level, they want that too. What I'm going to tell everybody, we want to get out of here. Everybody wants to get out of here. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we're going to have a working meeting here, as we normally do on some Saturdays. We're going to be stuffing some of these types bags so we can get people to drop stuff off. Anybody wants to come and join us, please do. We just got 10,000 of these newspapers, which put Bill Frady on the back. So we'll be excited about that. But I mean, we're going to get out to folks. The emphasis is on June 9th, getting people out to vote on June 9th. The more people we get engaged, the more reasonable folks and thought we can get out there. The political consultants want to keep the voting down because they can control it and manipulate it more with text that you don't like, and all those types of stuff, and mailers and everything. What we want to do is get and encourage people in our individual precincts to come out and vote. And we're going to be kind of mapping that and tracking that in each of the precincts. But we want to give you the tools to just go do a lid drop this on your neighbor's door, especially hard R's, people that vote normally, but then get to know people and build your precinct out. So some precincts are more active than others, and we're going to be doing that. Yes, sir.
I have a quick warning for everyone. I received an arrest warrant the other day that was fraudulent.
Oh, really?
These guys are good. And it was for failure to appear at a court hearing.
Did you get a text message for that?
I took a screenshot of the thing. And I ended up talking to 2 fake marshals, 2 real marshals, FBI.
Wow.
It's, but these guys are good. I mean, what got me agitated was an elderly woman got one of these things, and a gas station guy stopped her from taking out several $1,000s from an ATM.
Wow. We have been hit by not that particular thing. I get the text messages. People say, "Oh, you haven't paid a ticket. Go ahead and pay your ticket online. Click here. Don't trust those things." We have literally got where people on our board, I won't name names, have gotten emails saying, "Oh, this is Jeff. I need you to go get $1,000 of gift cards. Please bring me gift cards." And I'm like, I wouldn't ask you to go get $1,000 worth of gift cards in the first place when we could write a check. But that stuff is out there. So there are nefarious people that want to do bad things. I will entertain one last motion.
The motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All right, we're non-debatable. We're out. Thank you, Don Lewis. Don for USSenate.com. Get out there and do your research, and we'll see you after this. Let me knock out. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Well done.